Hey, welcome to all of my podcast listeners who are listening to this on the recording. I am so excited that you get to join us today. We are talking with Mandy Jo. Walking, adventures, and travel. Like, hello, who wouldn't want to walk and travel? Like, I love that idea. So we're going to talk with Mandy Jo about that today. And in case you've never met me before, which if you're listening to the podcast, you may never have heard me before, it might be your first time listening. My name is Cyndilu, and I'm the founder of beBOLDyou, the creator of the beBOLDyou podcast, creator of Becoming Bold You, or the author of Becoming Bold You, my book about the beBOLDyou personality expression system. Wow, that's a big mouthful. So if you want to know more about that, you can learn about that by going to beBOLDyou.com/BBY book, and you'll get some free resources there, and you can buy my book through that link. And I'll give it again in the middle for those who are watching. So welcome, Mandy Jo, to the show. And I want you to introduce yourself. I used to try to introduce the guests, but I find that even when you give me that big old long introduction, that I'm way better off to let you introduce yourself, because you know yourself inside and out, and you get to then tell the people what you want them to know about you.
I am Mandy Jo, and I am a walking coach. And with that, I have adventures and walking. And with the company, we are eventually, post travel times, once we're able to travel more, we will have walkations to where we are going on a vacation and doing a race in the middle of it.
Ooh, fun.
Yes.
Mandy Jo, how did you start walking?
I started back in 2002. I had a almost 1-year-old, and I was sitting there feeling sluggish and saw a commercial come on for a local training program, did the training program, and the following year I decided to be a trainer.
Oh, wow.
And since then, I've been training walkers for either 10 miles or half marathons primarily. Although I did write a book.
She's an author, folks.
Adventures.
I love talking to authors.
And the book is Adventures in Walking from the Couch to 5K. And I decided that I didn't like training books. So why would I write a training book if I don't like training books?
Yeah, great question.
I decided that I was going to shake things up a bit. And in my book, I wrote it in story format. So you're following the adventure of this divorced mother with twin boys. No, my boys are not twins. But the story is based on me, my ex, and my boys.
Okay.
The ex is brought in as he used to watch the boys all the time when I would go walking. So brought that element in, and there is no negativity in the book whatsoever. So even though there's an X in there, there's no drama around it.
Actually, can I just talk about that for a minute? I'm taking you totally off topic here for just a minute.
Yes.
And I do this in the first half of the show because I want to get to know people. So my daughter had an ex. And I basically had an ex. I didn't marry him in the first place, but we had 2 children together. And so, she grew up with my example of I did my best to never say anything bad about him in front of my children, because to me, that's their father.
Exactly.
Right? And so they need to have as good a relationship with him as he will allow.
Yep.
And that's really up to him. And so I've watched my daughter divorce and be able to have a relationship with her ex that is such that they've even gone on vacation together, so that the boys could have a vacation that had mom and dad both there, and the ex's new wife was there with their baby. Like, they just like became a bigger family, which I
That's
found really
really
amazing.
cool. I never went on vacation with my ex. However, we did go to, I'm based in Michigan, so we went to Detroit Piston basketball games because my son and him are huge basketball fans. So, and myself. So we go to basketball games together. We would go to my son's basketball games and we'd sit fairly close together. I mean, as close as he would get to someone that was, you know, that typical mom at the top of the bleachers yelling at the refs. Because, of course, your son does no wrong out on the court.
No, absolutely not.
But
I love that.
So I wanted to incorporate that because you don't see that.
Yeah.
You see too much. And I worked in HR, so I've seen some of the nastiness that goes on. And I didn't want that for myself. But I also wanted to include that in the book that, you know what? You can work together. Just because you work together doesn't mean you're getting back together.
Yeah.
Just means that you're able to work together for the benefit of the kids. He would come over for holiday dinners.
Yeah. And then the kids had you guys both there, and amazing. Yeah. And the thing is that if we as human beings can just get to the point where we can love one another as a human, I'm not talking love intimately, but love one another as a human and relate to each other in that way, we're going to be so much better.
Yeah.
As a race.
Exactly. And so I wanted to make sure that in my book, there was that mutual admiration, mutual cooperation, so that when you read the book, you realized that she was divorced, but you didn't see the drama around it. Yeah. It was more focused on her training. She included her boys in her training. And so it was just more, to me, I thought, cohesive. And it represents a little more cohesive.
Agreed.
So that there was where people were getting along, even though they couldn't be married.
Yeah. And that's great. That's amazing. Okay. Now, you live in the Mitten.
Yes, I live in the Mitten. Let me see if I can get this right. Right about, let me see, right somewhere in this area.
So for those who don't know, those who may be down under here in New Zealand, the Mitten is Michigan. And it's easiest to just explain it that way, which is really, really funny. Although I don't know which way I'm supposed to go because the thumb's going to be on. Anyway, it's one of those two. The other one's a mirror image. Either way, she lives about there.
Exactly.
What do you love most about living in Michigan?
I would say we have a great park system, be it state parks, be it county parks. In the Metro Detroit area, we have what is called Metro Parks, and it's a set of parks that is in 3 or 4 different counties. And you get a pass. You buy one pass and you can go to all these parks, and they've got great trail systems that go between them. In fact, they just completed, I believe it's complete now, the first trail. It's called the Lake to Lake Trail, and it goes from Lake Michigan to Lake Huron.
Oh, that must be so flippin' beautiful.
And, well, yeah, most of it, except for it goes through Pontiac, which... it's the only section of the trail near me that I haven't been in.
Can anything good come out of Pontiac, they say?
Not
Don't answer that question. Don't answer that question. Just ignore that I said that out loud. And for those in Pontiac, please forgive me if you're listening to this. I don't even know how you found it, but you are blessed.
You never know, but
you are blessed.
but the thing is that when you're on a trail, and there's been incidences out in so-called safe areas, so there's just, you get that vibe when you get to a certain part of the trail that I think it's time to turn around and go back.
Yeah, and we need to pay attention to those like inklings, right? Because they really are. Yeah, I have stories. Yeah, I won't even go there. We're gonna skip that part because we're gonna keep it positive. But it is really sad when that happens. I will say that much. It's really sad when that happens. And a friend of mine lost her best friend that way, and it was just absolutely.
Yeah, you've got to listen to that. And unfortunately, right now, along the trail, which isn't even officially, I don't think they even have an official trail through Pontiac. I don't think it's 100% complete. I think there's like a bypass.
Yep.
But we've gone up probably almost to the edge. I think we were technically in Pontiac.
So you were walking with someone. That was one of the things I
Yes.
was going to ask you about. So do you walk with a friend or do you walk alone?
Yes. In fact, the gal that I do most of my long walks with is actually a gal that started out as one of my trainees.
Oh, that's cool. And that's a much safer way to walk
Yes.
with somebody. Yeah.
Well, for a few reasons. One, if something were to happen to you medically, although I do have on my watch, let me see if I can get in camera. See if I can get it around there. Yeah, that's going to be
almost right there. Up a little. Yep, there we go. Just twist it the other way. You've got this.
I know. Actually, it's just weird where it's at.
It's okay.
Yeah, because it's facing me.
For those in the podcast, that was hilarious. And if you want, you can head over to Facebook and watch where we recorded this live. So she was trying to show her watch, and it was like upside down and kind of out of screen and a little bit backwards. So it was quite funny. Anyway, and I tried to get her to twist it the other way, but it looked like she's going to break her arm. So no. It's okay. So good. We're good with that today. So on your watch, I
have a road ID band that says my emergency information.
Okay.
So it's got emergency contact number. It has allergies on it. It has a website on it where I update all of that information at.
Nice.
So,
that's a really cool feature.
Which is good whether or not you're walking with someone or not.
Yeah.
Because even though her and I have been walking for quite a while now, and she happens to be a cardiac nurse. Good person to walk with.
Good person to walk with. I would need to take a cardiac nurse to even start walking, but yes.
So, but to have that information somehow on your person when you're walking, I don't care if it's your driver's license, a photo ID, in your phone, something that will identify you, emergency contact, allergies, and any health issues you have.
Nice. I love it. It's a great tool. All right.
So, yes.
What else would we like to know about? I'm going to ask you my 10 questions at the beginning of the show here instead of at the end. Okay, so what is your favorite color?
Purple.
Yes, it's a good color. I think. She's definitely branded here today, which is great.
Yep.
So, I'm not looking at my list. I'm trying to remember them all. So, what book are you reading now?
Actually, I haven't been reading.
Ooh, what music are you listening to then?
I listen to a variety of music. It depends on what I am in the mood for, and what time of day it is. I listen to contemporary Christian music. I listen to country music. And then I also listen to my sleep music at night.
Okay, so sleep music at night tells me about time of day. But country music or Christian music, that could be any time of day, right? That doesn't matter.
Nah.
Okay.
I usually have it all mixed up in my Spotify.
So, what energizes you?
Warm weather, which we're headed into the not so warm season of Michigan.
And we're headed into the warm season.
I know. Except
The
for I
joy.
can't get on a plane right now and change continents.
I know. Would be nice. I suffered through the winter here, so you'll make it. You'll make it. You'll make it.
Well, hopefully, in the not too distant future, we make a move to the south.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely.
To where I don't mind having the 4 seasons. I just don't want winter to last from October to May.
Yeah, I can relate. I moved from Vermont to Arizona for that very reason. So, what are you more introverted or extroverted? She's thinking.
That's a hard one for me because it really varies. Some days I'm very outgoing, and then other days I can just sit back and watch.
Okay, so there's a difference between being outgoing and being introverted and introverted. So let me help you with that. When you spend time with people, do you walk away feeling drained or feeling energetic?
That actually depends on the person.
Ooh,
but for
interesting.
the most part, energized.
Okay, for the most part, energized.
Yeah, because some people are just draining because they're the negative people that like.
Yeah, so they don't actually count.
Yeah.
You spend time with people that you like. Do you walk away?
Because when I'm with people I like, I don't feel drained. No.
Yeah, because some people feel drained. Like they literally feel drained. And those are the true introverts, right? Those are the true people that are just introverts and they need to be alone. And they can be outgoing introverts and like spending time with people, but they still come away feeling drained. So if you don't come away feeling drained, you're more of an extrovert than you are an introvert.
Yep.
Okay. So there you go. A little tip there for personality stuff. You know, that's what I'm all about. Okay. So let's see. What else do I have for questions? What's the most exotic place you've ever visited?
The most exotic place I've lived in?
Okay. Visited.
99% of my life has been in Michigan.
No, but you've traveled. Where have you traveled to this?
I've traveled to Florida and Arizona would be my
Arizona would be exotic. They have palm trees.
I am actually one of those that I don't really have a desire to travel internationally because I think there's so much to explore in the US that maybe once I get done exploring the US, I might want to explore internationally, but there's so many places and so much to do. I got a while yet.
Okay, so I'm going to change up my questions just for you. How many states have you been to?
I think it's around 20 because I haven't been out on the East Coast at all.
Okay.
But I have
in the autumn.
Like all of these states between here and Florida, between Michigan and Florida, covered.
Covered.
Great Lakes states, covered.
So what quote or phrase inspires you? Thinking. Pondering.
That's an interesting one. I would say more of a phrase of let's get going, let's get moving. I'm always telling my trainees, whether they are kids or adults, let's get moving, let's get going. And especially the kids.
Especially the kids.
Well, when my younger one was in elementary school, I had kids running clubs.
Okay.
And I told them that they just had to keep moving. And I didn't care if that meant run, skip, jump, hop, walk, or do cartwheels. And they took me up on all of it.
I bet they did. I bet they did.
So, yeah.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so who's the one person that's inspired you the most? They can be dead or alive. Or had the most influence on your life?
She
doesn't know.
I would have to say, actually, that would probably come down to...
What was that? Your parents?
My parents.
Yeah. It's amazing how many people say parents. It is just absolutely amazing.
Yep.
Okay.
And then...
So, what one word describes you best?
Energetic.
Nice. I love it. Okay. So we are done with the get to know you bit. Now I want to get more to know about the walking. And because you said you started walking when you were feeling kind of sluggish.
Sluggish.
So what got you to that point of feeling sluggish?
Well, my younger one, I've got 2 boys. They are 7 years apart. So after I had the younger one, I was sitting in a townhouse trying to figure out what to do. Because he was born the year of 9/11. He was born in June. And when I went to go back to work, I did administrative secretarial work. And I did all contract assignments through like Kelly Service and Office Team and all of those places. Well, before 9/11 happened, I could call up and I would go to work and I could be filling in for one day as a receptionist. 9/11 happens, those jobs go away. Everybody is interviewing. There's a process. If the receptionist calls in sick for the day, they just do without. So the assignment slowed and I started doing environmental site work. So I was going around to various job sites in the state of Michigan, but I was feeling sluggish. I was sitting on the couch a lot, not doing a whole lot. So as you sit on the couch, you're watching TV, commercial comes on for a local race. It's a 10-mile race, and they have a training program. I'm like, ooh, I wonder if I can still sign up for this. So I call the number, sign up to train for it, and go out and meet a whole group of people that are like, yeah, let's do this. And at first I started in a run walk program and then switched to the walk program.
Okay.
And in the Flint, Michigan area, the walking community is huge, and they work very hard to get all of the local races to include a separate walk division. So
Nice.
We're not just thrown in with the runners.
Yeah.
And
so she made this face, y'all, on the podcast, just so you know, the runners. I want to talk about that a little bit more. So she has this thing against runners, and I don't think it's against runners. I think it's against the fact that people feel like they have to shift from walking to running.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah.
That is exactly true.
It isn't against you people who love to run. If that's what you love to do, then run. But for those of us who are still sitting on the couch or in our office or whatever, or maybe struggling with health issues where running just isn't in our possibilities of realms of what we want, either want to do or can do, walking is a great alternative.
Yes.
Super.
Well, in the one thing that the only thing I hold against the runners is how they looked. And a lot of them, I've seen it and I've heard it, is they look down on the walkers like we don't work out as hard as what the runners do. I'm out there for a half marathon.
Yeah, so that's more about the attitude of people,
right,
rather than the fact that you are a runner, right?
Yes.
What is your attitude? What is your general attitude towards people who aren't doing what you're doing? You know, that's the whole thing with the Be Bold You book. And I'm going to just do my short commercial here because that was a perfect segue for it. So Becoming Bold You is the sponsor of today's podcast. And you can get this by going to beBOLDyou.com/BBY book, and you'll get some resources and all of that. And it helps you to figure out who you are, who you've been, and who you want to become, because we get to become anything we want. And we don't have to be told by somebody else that we have to be a runner or that we have to be a walker or a crawler or a cartwheeler, right? We get to choose, because those kids that were doing cartwheels, they're one of these personalities for sure. They probably are the lightning one. The lightning one's like exciting things in their life and like to express themselves in ways that are, you know, big movements and showy off things. And so those probably are your cartwheelers. And you know, hey, so I think the biggest thing that I am hearing you say so far, and we're going to go dive a little bit deeper into exactly like the how-tos of what you do and how you walk people through training in the second half here. But what I'm hearing you say is just keep moving. Everybody can just keep moving. If all you can do is move your arms around, then move your arms around. Do that. Do what you can. And the reason I wanted to have Mandy Jo on, I said the right name, yay. Mandy Jo on is because I want people to understand that even though you may have limitations, you don't have to stop moving, right?
Yes.
You just have to modify your movement.
Well, and that's the thing, is like the one thing that inspired me to write my book, part of that inspiration was I had read a book on walking that was written by a runner. And I know he's a runner. The very last chapter, now I read this on a flight down to Nashville. And it was a good thing that I was on an airplane, because it's highly discouraged to chuck things out the window. They don't like it when you do that. So I didn't. But the very last chapter said, congratulations, now you're ready to run. So I really enjoyed his book up until that point. And so when I saw that, I was just like stunned. I'm like, really? You know, and part of me was stunned and part of me wasn't, because I've met him and I wasn't too surprised, because he told me that he didn't agree with walking.
Oh, wow.
He did not agree with the race walkers and all of that, which I've actually done competitive race walking, not in a while, because my son decided to do travel basketball and I wanted to be there.
Have to keep a foot on the ground at all times?
Yes.
That is funky walking. I used to do that when I was a kid. I'd walk to school that way just for fun.
Yep. So yeah, and it's just like, so when I wrote my book, I had in mind two things. One, all of the questions that my trainees had been asking me, and it didn't matter which trainee it was or what year it was. They all had the same questions year after year, different group after different group. And then the other thing is that I can count on one hand with extra fingers left over how many of my trainees have switched from walking to running. So there was no need for me to put in my book, you can go run now, because my trainees are not going to go run. And with that, I wanted to
not
answer
going to go
questions.
run. She's like, there's like no shame about it at all.
Nope. So yeah. But when you, through the years, when you have, because generally every year I had about 20 trainees. And some would come back, some would go into different groups. And when they keep asking the same questions, it's like, that'd be a good book.
That'd be a good book. So tell me about, that's not what I want. Tell me about your first experience finishing that race, the very first race that you did after you started training.
Oh, that's exciting. That is a feeling of accomplishment. Oh, yes. Very accomplished, very emotional, very, I can do this. I can do it again. Because at the start line, the thought that goes through your head at the start line, even now, all these years later, is, what am I thinking? Why am I here? Did I train enough? Did I do this? Did I eat the right breakfast? Am I wearing the right shoes? Is this outfit the right outfit? Am I going to get blisters? Did I pick the right socks out? Seriously? Yes. Do I have enough miles on these shoes that I'm not getting blisters from them and losing toenails? Do I have enough water? Did I bring my snacks? Because when you're out there for a half marathon, you need snacks. I do not rely on water stations to have proper food and hydration. And then at the end of the race, you're going, oh, that was awesome. I can do that again. And then you sign up for another one.
So, yeah, I heard that you're going to be doing your 20th half marathon soon.
Yes. I have done 19 half marathons, most of them in Michigan, with the exception of 2 in Nashville and 1 in Chicago. So, yes, number 20 will happen in 2021. I was going to have it happen this year, but I did one race and I wasn't impressed with how things had to go. It was too spaced out for me. One, there was too much separation in people because you go by the crowd. You get the energy from the crowd, from the other participants. And when there's none of that, you could tell by my times when we got out to where we were really split apart, because there was an out and back section, and then we went around this lake, and you could tell when that energy wore off, because my mile times got longer and longer and longer. And it was at a place that I do training at, so it no longer felt like a race and felt more like a training.
Yeah, and you are definitely an extrovert if that is the case. Just going back to that question, you're absolutely an extrovert.
So yeah, I need the people. And so I'm not going to do another one in this calendar year. I am going to do one in 2021. We are getting things together for our first walkation, which will be in Nashville, is our destination. It's the Country Music Half Marathon, which I almost freaked out about when I went to look it up, because they rescheduled 2020 from the end of April to November. And so I emailed the race director and I'm like, is April 2021 still happening?
Yeah.
And she said yes, because they only switched it for this year. That is not a permanent change. So they are keeping it at the end of April of 2021. So I'm like, oh, good. So that will be half marathon number 20 for me. And it's going to be in Nashville. I'm going to take up to 18 people. So it's very limited. And there's going to be a training program with it. You're going to have your vacation, your hotel stay paid for, the race registration. Of course, you'll get a t-shirt.
Okay.
And some meals are going to be included in that cost, along with some entertainment. It is Nashville.
Ooh. It is Nashville, after all. Yes.
It is Nashville.
That sounds like a blast.
I do not have pricing yet.
And how long is that race?
Half marathon, 13.1 miles.
That's a long ways.
Yes.
How long does it take to walk a half marathon?
Depends on what kind of shape I'm in.
What's your slowest time?
My slowest time is almost 4 hours.
Okay. And your fastest time?
2.5.
Oh my gosh, walking.
Yes.
So you were doing the
2:30,
walking.
2:35 was my Nashville PR, my personal record.
Wow. So you were doing the faster walking where you keep a foot on the ground.
Yes. Yes. And I had been doing extensive training. In fact, that was in the height of my race walk training. And there's a whole group of us that, you know, even though my time was 2.5 hours, they were ahead of me.
Oh, wow. So what is race walk training? Like,
my whole goal when I trained with them was to keep them in sight, not to keep up with. To keep them in sight. They were that much faster than me.
Wow.
So that goes in with where you hear people say, oh, you know, you want to raise your income. It's, you know, who you hang out with, you know, their income needs to be where you want to be. Your income is the average of the 5 people you hang out with. It works in training because the people I was hanging out with were the ones that were pulling off the 9-minute race walk times.
Wow.
Which 9-minute would be a 9-minute mile or less for a 5K.
That's crazy.
My personal best 5K time is a 10.5-minute mile.
What?
Mm-hmm. Walking. When I first switched over to walking, I was still doing some running. I didn't make the complete switch. But what convinced me to make the complete switch was when I was doing the 10-mile race in Flint. And one year I did it running. The next year I did it walking, and my time was the same.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
My time was the same. So it's like, okay, I'm going to save my knees because my knees are not the best. My knees, I had back when I was in high school, I actually wanted to go into the Marines. And I couldn't pass the physical because they couldn't guarantee that I would come back from boot camp with my knees attached. I'm like, wow. I'm kind of grown attached to these. I'd like to keep them.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah. So the walking, I've run on and off through the years. I ran cross country in high school. So I am a former runner. I've always been a gym rat. I enjoy going to the gym. But once you get kids, that tends for a lot of us to take over our time. So I quit doing that, and that's when I became sluggish. And then when I went back, I felt so much better. And now with training people, I can train people whether they're at a gym or not. And now with going online, it's even easier because then geographically, they don't even have to be in the same state or country that I am in.
Wow.
So it just, with the advantages now of Zoom and the advantages of training apps, which I utilize a training app. I've got trainees that do a Couch to 5K program on a training app. I haven't added the half marathon program yet. And with that, it just makes it easier to not have to worry about where am I located. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, we're all going to meet up in Nashville at the end of April. I'm not paying for anybody's travel. However they get there is however they get there. So it doesn't matter whether you are from Nashville, although staying in the hotel,
It could be fun. It could be fun.
it would still be fun. But it doesn't matter if you're from Tennessee going to the Nashville Half Marathon, or if you're in Michigan or New Zealand or wherever you're at, we can train virtually.
Yeah. So, and a great way for people to start doing that is this month in October, you're starting a walking.
I have 2 challenges for October.
So the one that you talked about before that we have you have a landing page for is if they go to beBOLDyou.com/walking, it will take them to Mandy Jo's landing page. So I'm trying to make it as simple as I can for my listeners. So we're talking about walking today. So it's beBOLDyou.com/walking. And you will learn all about her Monster Mash challenge, where you get to have some great swag and get some training on walking and get ready for April.
Right?
Where I won't be joining you, but some people will.
Well, and that's the thing with the training. I'm also going to have there's going to be 3 setups for Nashville. One is it's going to be you're training for the half marathon and it's single occupancy, double occupancy, or cheerleader. And actually there will be 4 because you can either be cheerleader single occupancy or double occupancy. So if you want to come and just join us for everything but the race and just be there at the finish line, there is that possibility.
Okay, that's a cool idea. Great idea.
So I figure we can always use cheerleaders. The program is limited to a total of 20. So me and my boyfriend, and then 18 other people. But the challenge that I have going for October to get you kicked off in walking is the Monster Smash Walking Challenge. And there's 3 levels of that. So you can either do the 15.5 miles for the month. However you split that up is however you split that up. It averages out to a half mile a day. 31 miles for the month. Easy math. Mile a day, or 62 miles for the month, doing 2 miles a day. And that's on average. So you're not necessarily going to walk every single day. You can take days off and then just double up. You know, if you're supposed to do a mile every day, then over here you'll do 2 miles and you'll skip a day.
Okay.
The swag bag goodies are awesome. You have the can koozie, you have your camera blocker for your computer, and the one that I've gotten the most reaction from is the pizza cutter / bottle opener.
We got to have one of those.
I have never seen one before until this.
That's so funny. So that's your celebration. Have a pizza.
Exactly.
And a drink, beverage.
Exactly. And with that, if you bring along 5 of your friends and they sign up after you sign up and you give them your code, you get your registration for free.
Nice.
And then to go along with that, or separately, depending on your level, is the Bewitching Exercise Challenge. So that is 31 days of exercises. And all of this includes weekly Zoom calls. And the exercise challenge is going to have a private Facebook group just for the challenge.
Okay.
So very reasonably priced. Depends on how you sign up, which price you get. So it can go anywhere from 20 on up to 43.
So if people want to learn more about that program and others, they can also connect with you directly by going to mandyjo.live/programs. And I'm sure there's links there to your social media and all that jazz. She's so organized, unlike some of us. So
and I just updated that particular page today.
Yay!
So it's very current.
Perfect timing. So perfect timing. And now is the perfect time for you to, as a person who's sitting on your couch, get up and start walking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, Mandy Jo, thank you so much for being here today. Is there any last words you'd like to share with people who are thinking about walking, or those who thought they had to run in order to exercise and now they just heard from you that you don't have to run, you could walk?
One, you're exactly right. Get up and move. You don't have to run. You can walk. The training program to get to Nashville is walking, not running. And two, if you are still sitting on your couch and you're thinking about getting up and walking, please go to your local running and walking store to get fitted for proper shoes. Don't buy the cheap ones, because you're going to end up with really sore feet and then you're going to get discouraged. So go and spend the extra money, get the good shoes, and your feet will thank you. And your knees.
Your feet will thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put that on there. Couch sitting, walking, get fitted for proper shoes. It's absolutely necessary. Alrighty. So again, mandyjo.live/programs to see everything that she's got going on. Or if you want to just get to that Monster Mash real quick, you can go through the beBOLDyou.com/walking. And I'm sure you'll find your way back to the programs there anyway.
Yep.
Alrighty. Well, thank you to my listeners online who are watching live as we record this. And thank you to all the podcast listeners as you are listening today. It has been amazing to have Mandy Jo with us and get us all thinking about getting up and walking. And some of us maybe will actually start walking. I'm working on walking around the house more, which is a really big thing. I've had some major health issues and I'm taking it slow, but I am still moving. And that's the important thing. If you're feeling like you can't move, go slow, move a little, get started, just do it, move. Alrighty. And remember to always live your life out loud and be bold you. Till next week, I shall see you